Hey. Do your job postings suck? Welcome to episode number 4 of the 10X Candidate Experience Show. I'm your host, Jeff Weidner, and today we've got an incredibly talented guest who has mastered the art of rewriting job posts and recruiting emails. They can teach your team how to write more effective copy so that it interrupts and fully engages your candidate audience so you can attract the right talent to apply to your jobs. They're also a speaker that is connected with tens of thousands of recruiters, HR, and tech entrepreneurs on topics from niche sourcing to recruitment marketing strategy and even candidate experience overhauls. Their style is simple and straightforward and definitely to the point. I love the fact that they focus on practical tips and case studies that have been proven to work in this market, and they add their own personal spin and sense of humor to everything. Please welcome to the show, Katrina Kibben from 3 Years Media.
Thank you so much for having me, Jeff. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Fantastic to have you. So we're going to just jump right into the questions here. I've read a lot of your blog posts. I've watched a ton of your videos and things like that. You make a differentiation between job posts and job descriptions. Can you just give me a brief 5-10 seconds to explain what the heck the difference is?
Yeah, so if I had, a PowerPoint up, you would picture 3 columns. The first is the job description, the next is the job posting, and the final one is a job ad. And I really think of this as a working space from left to right. We start with a job description because that's a compensation document. You have to have that because it decides how much we pay someone and at what level they sit in our organization. And frankly, it's also the document that you go back to if you need to fire someone. So it is a legal document, but it does not go on the internet. What I specialize in and what I teach people to create are job postings. And job postings are marketing versions of a job description. They are about 250 words, and they help the candidate answer these 2 questions that 99% of job postings don't even get near. The number one is, do I want to do this? And the second one is, can I do this? And if we can answer just those 2 questions in that 250 words, we have created a job posting that's really remarkable in this market. And finally, a job ad is how you take sentences and artifacts that represent the truth that you said in that job posting and market it out to the world. So maybe it's an Instagram post, a LinkedIn, whatever you do to get people back to that job posting. And that's the transformation from that job description to the posting to the ad.
So your company, 3 Years Media, has a training course on how to write effective job postings. Who is this course geared to? Is it for the recruiter, someone in HR, marketing, legal team? Who should really be taking on the responsibilities of writing the job posting?
So broadly, I feel that if you hire, you should take that class, period. So if you're a hiring manager, if you are bringing people onto your team, if you're a business owner, if you're a recruiter, if you're anyone if you are part of the equation that is hiring people into work, you should take that class because it is an act of establishing finish lines and what good looks like. And if you have no idea what good means, you'll never get it. And that is life advice, that's hiring advice, that's everything advice. If you do not know what enough is, if you do not know what good is, you will run and chase that thing forever. And job postings are about establishing what good looks like so that when you meet that person, you know. And that gets you to the point where when you talk to one person and you know they're the right person, you can be done with this process, and that changes everything.
So if you think about it, the job description is more for internal usage, right? It could be, obviously, it's going to be provided to the candidate, and there's an agreement there because it is a legal document, right? But the job posting, that's going to, where does that kind of live? Does that get used as a marketing tool also? Whereas the job ad is, that's definitely going out on job boards and social media and things like that. How do you differentiate the two?
Yeah,
Like,
so a
I know
job
you explained
posting,
what they were, but how do you use them in practical sense?
put the job posting on your career site. It's a
Okay.
building block for all recruiter communications. And this is something, sneak peek for anyone who's listening, that's something that we're actually releasing in the next few months. Is this idea that the infrastructure behind writing a great job posting, it changes. So you're putting it on your career site, but then you're using it in candidate outreach, in your email. You're using it when you talk to them on the phone and you're answering questions about the role. And you're using it when you sit down with the hiring manager and you review a slate. It is fundamental to every single part of a good hiring process to define that job posting up front and to know what good means.
So obviously we've identified who in the organization should be responsible for writing these. You pretty much said anybody that's involved in the hiring process, whether it's the recruiter, hiring manager,
Mm,
marketing, etc. Oh,
Let me pause right there. I don't
yeah.
actually think that. I think everyone should know how.
Okay.
The team who should own it is talent. And here's why. If you don't want to be treated like an order taker, don't take orders. If you don't want to be a kiosk, don't create a kiosk environment. It is absolutely fundamental that for every single requisition you open and fill, you start with a 30-minute hiring manager intake. That intake informs the creation of the job posting. And I really don't care who writes it. I actually do think it should be a recruiter because it's a way of you repeating back to the person on the other side that you know the truth and that you have a mutual version of truth. Because how many times have we gone out, placed someone, and they're like, that's not quite what I was looking for? That's because you had a bad intake. And it's funny, literally, I had this conversation with someone that I really respect and admire yesterday. Her name is Mary Kay Baldino, and you should follow her. You should listen to her because she said to me, any recruiter who can do a great intake can fill any requisition, any industry, any level, any of it, because they know what good looks like. If you don't know good, you can't do this. And there are two things that every recruiter needs to establish good: a good job posting and a great intake.
Know how to ask questions properly of the hiring manager, right?
Yes, because think about it. I mean, if someone says I want soup and you go to the store and you just buy soup and you do not ask even one follow-up question, what are the chances you might show up with something they don't like? Or you don't find out that they don't eat meat, or they're gluten-free, or they can't have dairy, or they can't have X, Y, and Z, and the 9 million other reasons why that soup might not just be the soup for them. Hiring is the same kind of job. It has a lot of variables, and if you do not understand the parameters, you will not hire the right person, no matter how good your intent is.
It's so funny that you mentioned soup because I was training a couple of my sources the other day on how to do proper intake meetings and what's involved in it. They're brand new to the industry. And I was explaining, I didn't use soup, I used ice cream. I was like, look, if that hiring manager tells you that they want ice cream and you go to the store and you buy ice cream and you give it to them and they're like, oh, I didn't ask for this. Well, yeah, they did. They asked for ice cream, but they really wanted vanilla ice cream. Okay, so you go back out and you get a vanilla ice cream, and it's the wrong kind. It's got carrageenan in it. It's not all natural. So you go back out, you get the all natural ice cream, and then they say, "No, I want the stuff with the little specks in it. You know, those little black dots. Get those." So you go back out and you get the ones with the little specks. That's all natural. And then, oh well, I want the non-dairy, and it can go on and on and on unless you're asking the right questions, right? So you have to know exactly what you're looking for. A good intake meeting starts with that, and obviously having a great job posting is a part of that also. Now that we've established who in the organization is responsible, where the heck do they start? Obviously, they should sign up for your course and go over at but can you go over at a high level, just a step-by-step process on, how even you get into this?
Yeah. So I I think there are a lot of layers, and I don't want to give away any like secret sauce, but I do think that you start by creating consistency in the first place. So what are your templates? What are your intakes? What does it sound like? And we provide all of these services and literally creating the standardization behind this model and the system because we've done it 1,000 times. The next thing we do is create some kind of library of what good looks like because you can't expect a bunch of people to create something good if they've never seen good, right? You need some sample, something that they can refer back to. The next piece is actually doing training. And this is where most processes go very, very wrong, is because the next thing they do is buy tools. And the thing that a tool cannot do, a Textio, a whoever you want to fill in, augmented writing tool, a augmented writing tool cannot tell you if you are telling the truth. It can't tell you if your intake wasn't good. It can't tell you if the manager didn't answer your question. That's the human side. The machines are never taking our jobs, okay? So do not buy the tool first because I tested I'm not going to name drop the HR technology, even though I'm very, very tempted, but I used their job description grader. I typed in poop, shit, job description, and it gave me a C. Okay. No tools before training. Let me say that one more time. Poop, shit. I got a C. That's only my humor. Like, that is my humor level, nothing else. Nothing else about how quality that job posting is, because no tool can tell the truth. You buy training first. Then you do a shorter version of that training for hiring managers that actually teaches them what you learned, because we so often treat talent like this little ship that is sitting offshore just waiting to like sail in, help you with things, and then we go back. We need to educate people on change, and that's what I do. I come in last and I train your entire organization about what's about to change so you can keep rolling this out, and people are really excited. They're really excited to do this better because they know hiring is awful.
All right, so I'm going to put you on the spot here. I did send you guys an email about this, but I'm going to kind of throw a little curveball at you here. I'm going to pull up a job description, and you don't have to give away all your secrets, but give me one or two, okay? So let's
Wow.
pull up a job description right now, and we've got a job description right here. It's for a front-end developer.
So the first thing I would tell you is that you never ever start a job posting with about me, about your company, because scrapers pull the first paragraph, and that's the least interesting piece of information that you want to with your free distribution. The next piece that I would tell you is responsibilities. So what we do and what I teach hiring managers about is this idea of a plate test. And if you're writing a list of responsibilities, so it literally says what you'll do, and then it says 2 years. What do you mean I'm going to do 2 years of experience? Tell me how you do 2 years of experience. You don't. That's not a thing. So the way that I tell people to write about experiences is you take something off of your plate. So think of a metaphorical plate. This is my work plate, the things that I'm working on. What comes off my plate if I hire this person? Say that. Write that down. Years of experience quantifies time, but it qualifies no one. Because let's say you and I had the same job for 2 years, Jeff. Let's say we're both CEOs for 2 years. We do not have the same experiences during those 2 years, guaranteed. But if we can identify the experiences you should have in common, that's a lot more helpful, because it's not CRM. It's you have used a CRM to build connections with over 1,000 applicants per day.
So I also saw in one of your trainings, you went over kind of a 3-step practice or methodology, if you will. It was independence, creative, and people. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So it's not a process, it's leveling. So in technical roles, we have a struggle of identifying and distinguishing more senior people from more junior people. I think a lot of times that's what creates really bad job postings, is that the more senior it gets, we just start slapping things onto the junior one and expecting it to be good when the junior one was also trash. And so what I tell people to look at is actually 4 things. And this is one of those things that's a bit of a moving target. I'm actually working on a blog on it right now, and that's why I have notes in front of my face. So the first thing that we look at is technical aptitude. So if I give you this code and you want to create something, what can you create? How independent can you be in that creation? The next is autonomy. Literally, if I give you a problem or I give you a list of tasks, can you prioritize that? Do you know what's most important? How much of it can you do by yourself? How many questions do you need? Do you need someone else to help you do the things? The next was presentation skills. So we're presenting ideas. How confident are you? How much experience do you have presenting ideas and getting buy-in from a lot of different people? Because your most senior people have to have that. Then the final one is people management. I want to asterisk that one because I don't believe that every bit of mobility should be tied with people management, right? That should not be the only path to seniority, especially in your technical organization, because that's a really way to make your technical organization much smaller. Because some people do want to be independent contributors. And so, people management, how many people can you manage? How many people can you communicate priorities to while still holding a workload? Your most senior people have all of those things maxed out, and we're scaling down from there to understand where they fit in, a leveling organization where you have levels 1, 2, and 3 on a job, which is often how technical organizations are structured.
So what I'm hearing is if I have two roles, let's say a front end web developer that's a junior one, one's more senior, I can't just change the number of years experience.
No, I don't want to see years of experience anywhere near your job posting.
Gotcha.
Years of experience are a very strong bias that we don't need. It's ageist and it doesn't work. Like I said, 3 years experience. So the example I always give is Jeff Bezos and I. Jeff Bezos, Amazon CEO, and I both have 3 years of executive experience. Why wouldn't you put us on the same slate? But we both have people management skills. But we both have 3 years of experience as a leader of a company. We know there's a million reasons why Jeff Bezos and I are not equal, and you cannot you cannot stroke my ego enough to make me think that Jeff Bezos and I deserve to be in the same job. But that's the perfect example and the one that you'll always remember of why years of experience just doesn't work.
So using that, I guess, framework or methodology that we had kind of gone over, can you give me a brief example, like a single sentence on how I would rephrase? Let's just take this first one. 2 years experience delivering applications in modern JavaScript framework.
Yep. You have used JavaScript framework to build a blank that helps people blank.
That's so easy.
I know. It's all frameworks. I was joking with a friend that no one's ever asked me how many job postings I've written. I have tested this so many thousands of times. It honestly, what it boils down to every single time is tell me the truth. If I looked you dead in the eye and I asked you, what did I build with Java? The next answer is what you should write down. This is not rocket scientist, and this is not
That makes
a contest
it
in
so.
creativity.
That makes it so like easy. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Most 99% of the hiring managers that I speak to, well, I've got to have 5 years in this and 3 years in this. That's how they think, right? But if you get down to, hey, what is this person actually going to be doing? That makes much more sense. And then just explain it in simple terms.
Yep.
I need somebody to do this, this, and this. But you have done this, this, and this. Sorry?
I was just going to say that's the fundamental change that has to happen in our hiring manager intake. And one of the parts that we train very heavily during our workshops is how to ask questions that prompt experiences, not lists. Because if you ask for a list, you'll get one every single time. If you ask for experience,
and they rattle off a checklist.
Yes.
Boom, 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 boom.
And you are the kiosk again. Press your buttons and I'll spit it out, right? Nobody likes that relationship. Change the relationship by changing the questions.
Well, that's worth the price of admission right there.
And I actually have a free hiring manager intake on my website that people can go and grab if you're looking for examples of what I mean when I say ask for imagination, ask questions that they help them imagine people, not sprout off lists.
Can you send me that link and I'll put it in the description for everybody?
Of course.
Awesome. So what are some of the most common mistakes besides putting the about us at the top? What are some of the most common mistakes that you see inside of a job description?
Yeah, so posting the job description instead of the posting is the one, right? So taking a compensation document and putting it on the internet as if that means anything to the person on the other side. I think broadly, they're way too long and they have way too many bullets. And we see that those bullets actually influence who applies. So Textio has pretty significant data that shows that if you have more than 7 bullets or more than 1/3 visually on a page is a bulleted list, you will see fewer women, fewer female applicants. Psychologically, and there's data from Intel that was the foundation of this hypothesis. They did a test group where they had women and men with the exact same qualifications sit down and apply to a job and tell us, would you apply to this job? Same job, same qualifications. Men applied when they were 60% qualified, or at least perceived. Women would not apply if they were not more than 80% qualified. And there's something about that visual structure of having way too many bullets, 1/3 or more, that makes women assume there's some part of it that doesn't work for them or that they will not fit. And broadly, I think that leads me to my third one, which is that those skills aren't using universal language. I have this chart and it's like banned words. And people are always like, well, I like this word. It's an important word to me. And I'm like, that's not the point of the chart. I'm using the word banned, but I actually don't have an issue with any of those words fundamentally. I have an issue with the fact that these words are not universal. They are not words that, if I say collaborative, for example, one of the most popular words in any job posting, it means something different at every company. It means something different for your team than it means for my team. Collaborative on my team actually means just that you're always checking up on details. It doesn't even mean that you're working together with people in real time. You don't work with anyone in real time in my company. We're all remote. We all work at our own pace. Versus collaborative at a big company might mean we sit in meetings every freaking morning and we talk through our roadmap and we sit there and like stroke each other's egos and make sure everybody feels good. I can tell you right now,
stand-up meeting, right?
Yep, that'll never happen at 3 Years Media. You will never get a morning pep talk every single day because I hate phone calls, right? And I will not do that to you. I will not force you to like be peppy every morning with me. That's not what it means at my company. But we are truly collaborative. We are truly trusting. We have strong values. We operate off our values. And those phrases, every single phrase I just said to you, those are special and sacred to me. They don't mean the same thing to you. And so we can't lean on that buzzword language, the words that everyone uses that do not have universal meaning. I think that's another big one, that if people just read things out loud, and if you feel like you're doing a ShamWow commercial, like stop, try again.
That guy was great. Didn't he also do that chopper thing? That thing was great. So they should absolutely avoid all of these buzzwords, and you went over the common mistakes. What should absolutely be in every job description?
3 things. And I knock this out in what I call a job pitch. The 3 things that happen in the job pitch are the impact of the work. What can we not do if we don't hire this person? Number 2, everyday activities. And don't give me some bullshit about every day is different. No, it's not. You do the same thing every day. You open your computer and you talk to people. Maybe you talk to different people every day, but you still talk to people. Even EMTs do the same shit every day. And
Might be in different sequences.
Exactly.
Might be doing something at 10 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock at night, whatever, but it's always the same thing every day.
And the last one is the absolute minimum requirements. And I don't know where we got so screwed up on minimum requirements. Like, we do not have mutual understanding around what this means, because minimum requirement means, if with all hope, with all knowing, with all research, the Google could not teach you this thing. You must know how to do this thing before you walk through our door. I do not want to speak to you if you do not have this thing in your background, if you have not done this thing before. That's what minimum means, and that's what minimum should be written. None of this nice to have bullshit, okay? That does not belong in your job posting ever.
Got a dog rearranging itself in the background. So one of the things I used to say, what the heck was that train of thought there we were just going over? Minimums.
Must be in the job.
So one of the things I used to say to the hiring managers was, okay, you say you have 5 years of minimum experience in this, X, Y, Z. So if I find somebody with 4 years and 11 months, you don't want to talk to them. And then every single time, well, no. I mean, if it's 4 years and 11, so it's an arbitrary and capricious cutoff, right? You're just saying 5 years to say 5 years. What you really want is somebody that can do the job. So what do they need to do the job? Well, it's not number of years experience. It's this, and this. Got it. Right. So
and I would tell you that I ask a different follow-up question now. After doing this a couple thousand times, the question that I ask is, what does someone know after 5 years that they could not know at 4? And then we're getting into the bulleted list. And that's where they'll tell me exactly what to write. Like I said, not a creativity contest. 9 times out of 10, I'm copying and pasting exactly what the manager told me, and I'm putting it in the right places. And that's how I create job postings. And frankly, that's what we've trained people to do. Like, I joked about not giving away some secret sauce. There is no secret sauce. I think we are talented copywriters, but we don't know anything that anyone else doesn't. We are very good question askers. We are very good truth tellers. And every person on my team believes this one fact fundamentally, and I can tell you that every person I've ever trained believes this fact too, because I'll tell them right there, I think they are in the wrong profession if they do not believe this. A job posting is a sneak peek into a whole new life. And if you remember for 1 second, what it feels like to be a job seeker, either through the eyes of someone in your life or yourself, You would never ever treat someone like you've been treated. You would never pay forward the lies, the nice to haves, the bullshit, the excuses, the reasons why you suck. You would never do that. You would treat them like your best friend in the world. You would treat them like someone you love. And I ask them to make promises to those people. And if you start with promises, I can assure you that what happens next, and it is done with a good heart, with consideration, with care, it'll be better than anything you've read on the internet.
Recruiters and hiring managers have lost that. I think the humanity in recruiting, ironically, human resources, the human has gone out of the staffing side. And it's become such a transactional, high-paced business that candidates don't realize that recruiters have 20, 30 recs on their desk. Every one of those jobs has 50 or 100 candidates on it that they have to screen and get through the process as quickly as possible, because they've got hiring managers breathing down their neck every single day. Where are my candidates? Where are my candidates? Where are my candidates? Why don't I have any interviews this week, right? And that puts a lot of pressure on the recruiters to perform at their absolute most efficient, most get it through the process as quickly as possible. And it's difficult to maintain that humanity and just a level of respectfulness when you've got such high volume. It's not impossible, which is why when I'm hiring a recruiter, I like to hire nice people first. That's what I look for. If they're a nice person, like waiters, waitresses, things like that, they're nice people usually. They're friendly, they're outgoing, they're very customer service oriented. I can teach them the recruiting stuff. I can teach them what to say to a candidate, what to say to a hiring manager. But if they're not nice and they're just hardcore all the time, it's probably not going to work out.
Yep. Because these are people's lives at stake.
Yeah.
And if you understand the emotional value of making the confession in your life that you want something more and you're willing to change everything to get that, and you have felt that in your life even once for a split second, that your job makes you so unhappy that you're willing to change everything to do that, and I would say most people have experienced that in their life. If you center in that place, you'll never rush people through a change of their life. I truly believe that. And what I call it and what my team calls it, we call it big heart energy. And it is what I said before. I mean this with all my heart. It is treating other people like the people you love. I jokingly make this line about, okay, let's say you and I are sitting in a bar and I ask you this question, what are you going to say? Because a lot of times people are so focused on being business professionals that they forget that we are humans. We do not distinguish. We are not two different people. When I walk out of this office and when I stand here and talk to you, Jeff, right? I am not two different humans there. I'm not. None of us are. Our souls stick with us no matter where we sit, no matter who employs us. And people deserve respect. Bottom line. And if you don't believe that, you can't work for me and you can't write a great job posting. There's nothing I can teach you.
Wholeheartedly agree. You have to have that humanity there. So anything you want to add to our conversation here? What did we miss? What question didn't I ask you?
No, I think what I would say, and I've said this before, so no surprises, no mind blowers here, but I really hope that the people who have lost that are listening to this ending and remembering that you sitting in a role where you influence how other people get work means that you have the power to provide optimism in someone else's life. Whenever you feel powerless, whenever you feel like your work is not enough or you have too much and you can't prioritize joy and you can't prioritize helping other people, I hope you were to remember that you are carrying hope with you. And that is so powerful. Slow down. It's worth slowing down.
I would definitely agree. I've had to slow down quite a few times this year. So everybody, if you're listening or watching right now, you definitely have a choice. You have a choice. You can go it alone. You can start trying to rewrite these job descriptions yourself, or you can choose to work with a professional. You can do it the hard way, the frustrating way, or you can do it the easy way. I like doing it the easy way. A smart person would know that they need to ask for help, and they get help from a professional, someone that has written thousands of job postings. And believe me, Katrina has. She's written tens of thousands of job description. So if you want to avoid some frustration, you can definitely save yourself a lot of time, money, and effort. Just call her up, work with Katrina, and I guarantee it's going to be worth 10x whatever you invest in the course. So there's going to be a link below. It's going to make a huge difference in your job postings, and your candidates will thank you, your hiring managers will thank you, and most importantly, your recruiters will thank you. All right? Everybody, make it a great day. Bye-bye.